Do you ever get that feeling that your whole life is just one big, messy lie? Like you're walking on solid ground, only to realize you've been standing on a trapdoor the entire time? Well, if you've been keeping up with the cobbles lately, you know that's exactly what's happening to some of our favorite neighbors in Weatherfield. It's like the writers have decided to just set everything on fire and see who manages to crawl out of the smoke. We're looking at lives being dismantled in real time, and honestly, it's getting hard to watch without wanting to scream at the TV. I want to talk about 3 people who are absolutely spiraling right now: Sarah, Summer, and Ben. They are all dealing with different types of nightmares, but the common thread is that they're all losing control. And when people lose control in a place like Coronation Street, things usually end up in a jail cell or a hospital bed. Now let's start with Sarah Platt, because honestly, my heart is just breaking for her right now. We all know Sarah has been through the ringer lately. She was attacked in her own home by Jody Ramsey, who literally knocked her unconscious while trashing the place. Can you imagine how that feels? Walking into your own living room, the one place you're supposed to be safe, and just getting blindsided like that? It's no wonder she hasn't been her usual bubbly self. But the way she's trying to handle that trauma is what's really starting to worry me. She's trying so hard to prove she still got it at work, and it is backfiring in the most spectacular, cringe-inducing way possible. The funny thing is, Sarah actually thought she was being clever. She persuaded Carla to let her take the lead on this massive contract with a client named Eli Merton. She even called him a teddy bear in the cafe, which is such a Sarah thing to say. But then Kit, her boyfriend who just happens to be a cop, decides to play the big man and does a random stop and search on Eli for his parking, just to mess with him. Now, I have to ask you, is that really protecting her, or is he just marking his territory? Because to me, it looks like Kit is the one who actually set this whole disaster in motion. When Sarah realized things were going south, she did something that just screamed desperation. She went home, changed into this super revealing outfit that basically showed off her underworld bra, and tried to flirt her way into a deal. I mean, come on, Sarah, you're better than that, aren't you? But when you feel small and weak, which is exactly how that attack made her feel, you sometimes reach for the only power you think you have left. In her head, she probably thought she was being a boss, but to everyone else, it just looked like a cry for help. The meeting was a total train wreck. Eli was in a rush, Sarah was trying too hard, and then Kit showed up at the factory to make things even more awkward. When Eli tried to leave, Sarah actually put her hands on his shoulders and forced him back into his seat. And that's where the nightmare really starts. Eli is now claiming sexual harassment. He's demanding a 40% discount, or he's going to the police. It is just insane. Do you think he's actually traumatized, or is he just a master manipulator? Because David Platt, being the classic wind-up merchant he is, actually went and encouraged Eli to report Kit for harassment too. It's a mess, but look at the psychological toll this is taking on Sarah. She's already making mistakes with orders at the factory, and Michael is having to cover for her. When Carla suggested Michael take over some of her work, Sarah didn't see it as a helping hand. She saw it as a public execution of her career. She feels like she's being erased. And what does she do? She goes to the Rovers and gets absolutely hammered. Carla finds her drunk, and that's pretty much the final nail in the coffin for her professional reputation. Carla has told her she has to take time off. But when your job is the only thing keeping you tethered to reality, what happens when that's taken away? Sarah is leaving messages for Kit in Glasgow, begging him to come home because she misses him, but he's not back anytime soon. She is completely alone in this spiral, and I'm genuinely scared she's going to do something she can't take back. Now, let's shift gears to Summer Spellman, because her situation is reaching a literal pressure cooker level. I've always thought of Summer as the one who tries to do everything right, but lately, she is just drowning in suspicion. The police are closing in on who killed Theo Silverton, and all the signs are pointing straight at her. First, there was that blood-stained brooch. It was found in the flat where Theo died, and we all saw her wearing it at the wedding. She told the police she wasn't at the flat that night, which we know is a total lie because we saw the flashback of her confronting him. Why lie? Well, think about it. If you're a young woman and you're standing over a man everyone hates, and then he ends up dead, your first instinct is probably to run. But in a murder investigation, a lie is basically a confession. But then things got even darker. George found her journal while he was tidying up. And guys, this wasn't just a Dear Diary situation. She wrote about wanting to put a gun to Theo's head and making him pay. When George and Christina confronted her, Summer tried to burn the evidence in the fire. Talk about looking guilty. If you're innocent, why are you trying to turn your thoughts into ash? Harriet Bibby, who plays Summer, actually said that Summer is just in panic mode and isn't thinking logically. And that's the problem. Panic makes you look like a killer even if you aren't. So now Summer is planning to flee to America. She's got her bag packed, she's ready to go to university, and she's trying to get out before the handcuffs come out. But here's the kicker. She suddenly remembers a witness who could help her alibi. Who is it? Why did it take her this long to remember? Is this a real person? Or is she just grasping at straws because she knows the police have her wedding photos showing the brooch? And what about George? Or is she just a kid who had some dark thoughts and is now being framed by her own accessories? I want to know what you think because the evidence is stacking up like a game of Tetris and it's about to hit the top. And then we have the Driscolls. If you thought Sarah or Summer had it bad, just look at Ben. His whole world has been inverted. He just found out that the man he thought was his father wasn't actually his father. Jim McDonald is his real dad. But that's not even the worst part. His mother, Maggie, finally confessed that she was the one who killed his dad, Alan, years ago. She pushed him during a fight, and he fell down the stairs. She's been sitting on that secret for decades while Ben grew up believing a completely different version of his own history. Ben is absolutely erupting with fury, and honestly, can you blame him? He spent a hellish week at the Rovers trying to wrap his head around this. He threw Maggie's belongings into the street and told her she'd been letting people down her whole life. He's so angry, he even threw Steve McDonald out of the pub just for trying to be a brother to him. Steve was just taking pity on Maggie, but to Ben, that felt like a betrayal. When you find out your mother is a killer and your father is a stranger, family becomes a very dirty word. The fallout is hitting the kids now too, which is the real tragedy. Ben's son, Will, is already traumatized from being groomed by Megan Walsh. Now he has to deal with the fact that his grandmother is a murderer. The stress is so high that Ben actually lost his temper and blurted out the truth about Maggie in front of Ollie and Will. Talk about a parenting fail. But he's at his breaking point. He feels like he's failing at everything, and it's trickling down to the next generation. Susie lobbed a fizzy drink at a 6-year-old's head because he was teasing her about Megan and Will. Will skipped his PE exam because he's so messed up by everything. Even Bethany Platt tried to help by reaching out to Will, drawing on her own experience of being groomed, but when she accidentally touched his hand, he lashed out and accused her of touching him. It's just a cycle of pain that won't stop. Maggie says she kept the secret to protect her children, but look at the state of them now. Was the lie really worth it? Or did it just make the eventual explosion 1,000 times worse? I really have to wonder how any of these people move forward. Ben is looking into a holiday to give them something else to focus on, but you can't exactly vacation away a murder confession and a grooming scandal. Maggie has checked herself into a hotel because she's afraid she's destroyed her relationship with Ben for good. And honestly, she probably has. How do you ever look at your mother the same way after that? The funny thing about Coronation Street is that just when you think you've seen the worst of it, a new villain or a new secret pops up. We've got Daniel being targeted by an online troll called Truth Teller, who is dragging up his past and accusing him of knowing about Will's grooming. He thinks it's someone who knows him personally, and Jody, who is still hanging around and lying about her birthday being in December, is pointing the finger at David. Is David really that petty? Or is Jody just trying to cause more chaos for the Platts? And then there's Sam. Poor Sam is having visions of Roy Cropper telling him he can't trust anyone. It's like the whole neighborhood is suffering from a collective mental breakdown. Roy is just trying to reopen his cafe after the fire, but for Sam, the real Roy and the malevolent version in his head are starting to blur together. It's getting dark, guys. Really dark, S.O. Here's the big question. Who is going to break first? Is it going to be Sarah, who is currently losing her job and her mind at the bottom of a glass in the Rovers? Is it going to be Summer, who is about to become a fugitive from justice because she can't stop lying to the police? Or is it Ben, who is watching his family fall apart in the most public way possible at the Rovers. I want to hear your theories. Do you think Sarah is actually guilty of harassment, or is Eli just a scumbag taking advantage of a vulnerable woman? And what about Summer? Do you think she actually had something to do with Theo's death? Or is that diary just a vent for a girl who's been under too much pressure? Finally, can Ben ever forgive Maggie? Or is 30 years of lying just a bridge too far? If you're as obsessed with this drama as I am, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We are going to be following every single twist on the cobbles, and you do not want to miss what happens when Summer tries to get on that plane, or when Kit finally comes home to find out what Sarah's been up to. There is so much more to unpack, and I'll be right here with you for all of it. Leave a comment below, and let's get the debate going. Who is the biggest villain in Weatherfield right now? Is it Kit, Eli, Megan, or maybe someone we haven't even suspected yet? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. If that witness doesn't come through, Summer is basically looking at a one-way ticket to a prison cell instead of a university in America. Think about the position she's in right now. She's already lied to DS Lisa Swain about even being at the flat the night Theo died. Then you've got that pig brooch found covered in blood, which the police have now linked directly to her after Kit spotted it in the wedding photos. If this mystery witness doesn't back her up, all that evidence just sits there like a mountain she can't climb. And let's not forget that terrifying journal entry George found where she wrote about wanting to put a gun to Theo's head. If her alibi fails, those dark thoughts stop looking like venting and start looking like a motive for murder. She's already in total panic mode. And even the actress who plays her, Harriet Bibby, says Summer isn't thinking logically anymore. If the witness falls through, her plan to flee to the States will just look like the ultimate admission of guilt to the police. The walls are already closing in because George has admitted to the police that she's been lying. Without a solid witness to clear her name, Summer goes from being a student with a bright future to a prime suspect who looks like she's running away from a crime scene. It really feels like she's clutching at straws to avoid the inevitable arrest that's looming over her. Do you think this witness is even real? Or is Summer just making it up because she's terrified of being caught? And if the witness turns out to be a dead end, do you think Todd or Gary can actually do anything to save her from a murder charge? Have you ever noticed how Weatherfield seems to have this weird gravity, where the most innocent people get sucked into the darkest black holes? Right now, we are watching Summer Spellman absolutely dissolve under the weight of a murder investigation that feels like a trap she helped build for herself. The question on everyone's lips is whether Todd Grimshaw or Gary Windass, two men with very different, very checkered pasts, can actually pull her back from the edge of a life-changing prison sentence. It's a fascinating dynamic because you have Todd, who is essentially her guardian, and Gary, who has spent the last few years acting as a sort of unofficial neighborhood protector, and both of them are currently watching as the police close in on her like a pack of wolves. When we look at the evidence the police have, it's honestly a miracle she hasn't been charged already. You've got that blood-stained pig brooch found right at the scene of Theo's death. Then you've got DS Lisa Swain looking through wedding photos and spotting Summer wearing that exact same piece of jewelry. Psychologically, this is a nightmare for Summer because it puts her at the scene at the exact time she claimed she was nowhere near it. The funny thing is, Summer isn't a criminal mastermind. She's a kid who panicked. She lied to the police about being at the flat because she was terrified. But in a murder investigation, a lie is basically an invitation for the police to start measuring you for a jumpsuit. But let's talk about Todd. He's been out on the street defending her to anyone who will listen, especially when Lisa Swain is lurking around. But is Todd really the best person to be handling this? Think about his history. This is a man who has lived on both sides of the law, a man who has lost his career, his reputation, and nearly his family before. He sees Summer as his chance at redemption. If he can save her, maybe he can forgive himself for the mess he's made of his own life. But the problem is that Todd is compromised. Theo was his ex, his abuser, and someone who brought nothing but misery to number 11. Todd's defense of Summer isn't just about her innocence. It's about his own guilt for letting Theo into their lives in the first place. When he bumps into her carrying that holdall and she admits she's planning to flee to America, you can see the absolute terror in his eyes. He knows that if she gets on that plane, she's essentially signing a confession. He's trying to be the voice of reason, but how can you be reasonable when your world is falling apart? Then you have Gary Windass. Now, Gary is an interesting choice for a savior. He was one of the original suspects himself. But when things started getting heated in the cafe and people were whispering about Summer, it was Gary who stepped in and took her to the builder's yard for some breathing space. Why Gary? Well, let's be honest. Gary knows where the bodies are buried. Sometimes literally. He's a man who understands that the truth is often just a matter of perspective and how well you can hide the evidence. If anyone on that street knows how to handle a situation where someone is being framed, or even if they're guilty, it's Gary. But there's a psychological layer here too. Gary has a daughter of his own, and he's always had this protective streak when it comes to the younger residents. He sees Summer's vulnerability and it triggers that guardian instinct in him. But can Gary's brand of protection actually help her in a legal sense? Or will his involvement only make the police look closer at the whole group? The real tragedy here is that the people who should be protecting her are the ones accidentally or intentionally burying her. George Shuttleworth, the man who is supposed to be part of her support system, is the one who found her journal. And that journal is a disaster. Summer wrote about wanting to put a gun to Theo's head. Now, we all know that venting in a diary is different from pulling a trigger, but to a detective like Lisa Swain, that journal entry is a motive wrapped in a vow. George is a man of tradition and morals, and when he found that entry and saw her trying to burn the evidence, his internal compass just broke. He felt he had no choice but to tell the police about her lies. Todd sees this as a massive betrayal, and you can bet that the fallout between Todd and George is going to be explosive. It's a classic conflict between the truth at all costs and loyalty at all costs. George thinks he's doing the right thing, but he's essentially handing the police the nails for Summer's coffin. So, can Todd and Gary actually save her? If they're going to do it, they need something more than just a loud defense on the street. They need that mystery witness Summer suddenly remembered. This is the classic soap opera Deus Ex Machina. Who is this person? And why did it take her so long to remember them? Psychologically, trauma can cause memory blockages, so it's possible she genuinely forgot someone was there. Or, more cynically, is she just inventing a savior because she's so desperate to get on that plane to America and escape the pressure cooker of Weatherfield? If Todd and Gary can find this witness and they actually back her up, she might have a chance. But if the witness is a bust, or if they don't see things the way Summer remembers, she's done for. The situation with Summer is even more complex because she's not just fighting the police. She's fighting her own guilt. She hates that she even thought about hurting Theo. She feels like a monster because those violent thoughts were in her head, and now that he's actually dead, she feels responsible on a spiritual level, even if she didn't do the deed. This is why she's lashing out at George and pointing the finger at him. It's a defense mechanism called displacement. She can't handle the weight of being a suspect, so she tries to make someone else the villain opinion-wise. I think Todd is doing more harm than good right now by being so aggressive with the police. Every time he defends her, he makes her look more like someone who needs defending. And Gary? Gary is a wild card. If he uses his old fixer methods to help her, he might just get her into even deeper trouble. The police are already suspicious of this entire group. Todd, George, and Gary were all under scrutiny from the start. The more they hover around her, the more it looks like a conspiracy. What happens if that flight to America is her only way out? If she makes it to the airport, she's a fugitive. If she stays, she's likely going to be arrested. It's a lose-lose situation unless Todd can find a way to discredit the brooch evidence or Gary can find out who really had that brooch last. We know Summer dropped it, but did someone else pick it up and use it to frame her? That's the kind of dark thinking that someone like Gary Windass is very good at. He knows how criminals think because he's been there. There's also the question of the truth teller account that's attacking Daniel Osborne online. Could that troll be linked to Theo's death? Could the person framing Summer be the same person trying to destroy Daniel? The street is currently crawling with people who have secrets, and Summer is just the easiest target because she's the one with the most obvious evidence against her. Ultimately, Summer is a victim of her own good nature being pushed too far. She cared too much about Billy and Todd, and that led to the hatred she felt for Theo. That hatred became a journal entry, and that journal entry became a piece of evidence. It's a tragic circle. If Todd and Gary are going to save her, they have to stop acting like her fathers and start acting like her legal team. But in Weatherfield, emotions always win out over logic. I really want to hear